Welcome to my channel. My name's Chance, and guess what? I'm here to talk about some board games. And it's Friday, so I need to do some hot takes. Because that's tradition around here, right? And once again, lying to you because it's actually Tuesday. I'm going to be traveling this week. I'm going to a wedding, so I don't even have a lot of time to do this hot takes. And I was like, oh, what can I do to get this video out? And something arrived in the mail that gave me my idea. So I got Shallow Regrets just showed up from Kickstarter here. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do button shy games for my hot takes this Friday because I can knock those out pretty quickly. Sorry to tell you, this is a bit of a teaser. This is not going to be part of the hot takes. I have not played Shallow Regrets yet, so we're going to just set that guy off to the side, and we're going to move on to the 4 games that I do have. Check this out. We got Food Chain Island, we got Rove, we got Sprawlopolis, and In Vino Morte. Now, I've talked about some of these games before, but you know what? Let's just get this roundup done for Button Shy and go dive into these games. And we're going to go in order of player count, let's say. So, kick things off, we are going to be talking about Food Chain Island. So this is a solo game. I have actually posted a playthrough and a review of this game, and I just think it is great. So for Food Chain Island, we have a series of, what is this, 16 cards. You know, that's kind of tradition for Button Shy here. We're just going to take these animal cards and we're just going to shuffle those guys up, and all we do is lay these things out in a grid. So we're just going to throw that down, 1, 2, 3, and I think it's like a, let's go 4x4. That sounds like 16, right? And man, maybe I should speed this part up because I am just fumbling these cards. There we go. So now we are ready to play Food Chain Island, and your goal is just to reduce this island down to 3 surviving animals. Once again, not really a sustainable ecosystem because those animals are going to have nothing else to eat, but your goal is just to reduce that island down to 3 animals. Now, the rule of this game is, and it's a very, very short rule book, that you are just going to be moving these creatures adjacent, and they can just eat cards that are 3 numbers less than them. So it's a little number spatial puzzle. Basically, I'm going to look out here. I'm going to be like, oh, look, the ant is next to the plant. I'm going to move that ant, and I'm going to put that over the plant because that's a 1 and that's a 0. Hey, the ant has eaten the plant. But now I get to activate the special ability of that animal. It says I get to move one animal 1 to 3 spaces. Ooh, where do I want to move an animal? I'm going to be like, ooh, yeah, I'm going to move the rat 1 space because now I have the bat. The bat can eat the rat. Look at that. Now after the bat eats, I can move it to any other space. So I can just be like, oh, I'm going to move that adjacent to the raccoon over here. So now the raccoon can eat the bat. And that is going to be the flow of this game. Now there are going to be some special cards here. We got the whale and the shark. These are kind of one-time power cards that you get to use to kind of get yourself out of a sticky situation in this game, and they're great. So overall, this game is very simple to play. It's a really nice streamlined solo game, has a really good spatial and number puzzle going on with it. This is by far one of my favorite games to take with me when I travel because it is easy to pull out and just easy to do a quick round of. This one is basically always with me when I go somewhere. So yeah, that is going to be Food Chain Island. I feel like it lands in that just a nice area where it's a little bit crunchy, but not too crunchy, so it's not too overwhelming to do. And yeah, it's just, I like the theme, the art, and the style, and the gameplay. All of it gets just, yeah, thumbs up from me. I really like this Button Shy game. All right, let's move that one off to the side and move on to number 2 for this video. And we're not even going to pack that up. Let's just, there we go. Perfect, I get to deal with that later. Next up, this is a new one that I just got, well, it's actually an older one that I've heard about. This is going to be Rove. And I finally got this one played, and man, this is great. This is another solo game, and oof, man, this one, unlike Food Chain Island, I'm going to say this is a bit more of a brain burner. This one definitely makes me think. You have these module cards that you're basically going to be trying to manipulate to achieve certain missions. Basically, you're a rover out on, let's say Mars or something. And you're trying to achieve certain objectives to win the game. So you're just going to deal out these module cards into a 2x3 grid here, and then you have these mission cards. You're just going to shuffle those guys up, and we are ready to go. Look at that. Now we're just going to put a mission card up there. We now have a mission. This mission says, hey, we want the brain card over here. Ooh, you know, and I got all my cards upside down. There's some powers that we get to activate on these cards, and they're one-time use for the game. We'll come back to that. So we got our mission card. It says we want this brain card down here, the brain module, to be down in this bottom or in a left corner, because essentially this grid is infinite. You can move these cards around. There are some rules on the movement, but essentially you can shift this grid all over the place. It's an infinite grid. So you're going to try to make this pattern to achieve this objective. So now I'm going to draw my hand of 5 cards. Note that you can increase the difficulty by reducing your hand size, but I already find this game ridiculously hard, so I don't know why you'd want to do that. These cards are going to have action points on them. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, and a 2, and then I can basically just spend one of these cards to take those action points. But the cool part about these cards is that they also have a pattern on them. It says that if I have one of these patterns, I could actually play that card. So if I manage to have this pattern, I could play this card for 5 action points instead of 3 action points. That's going to be super valuable. So I might be like, you know what, I really want to achieve that. So I'm going to play my 1 action point card. We're going to throw that in this card, and we're just going to move the brain module up 1. Now I have some restrictions on the movement here. Basically, these cards will tell me how they can move. They have little arrows on them. There's a little symbol reference in the book, but basically this one says I can move it in vertical or horizontal directions. This one over here can move in any direction. This one over to the left is going to be able to move only on the diagonals. Then there's some that can only move like 1 space. There's some that can push modules. So you have some interesting movement things. You can jump other modules too, but you just have to follow those movement rules. And after you move a card, it always has to be connected to the whole brain of the system, right? The whole computer system. So they basically have to maintain adjacency. And diagonals count as adjacent, so this is a legal move for that brain module. Now I'm going to be like, oh, you guys, look at this. I got the purple card in the center, got 2 cards in the corner there. So now I can play this card and I can take those 5 action points. Now I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to shift these guys around, try to achieve this pattern. If I manage to achieve that pattern, I'm going to be like, hey, look at that, I achieved it. I get to cover this up, and ooh, look at this. This is one of my favorite parts of the game, is that these cards all connect to create a nice little scene for you on your little rover mission. So as you complete missions, you're going to connect this up, and you're going to create this nice little panorama scene, and yeah, your goal is just to complete 7 of these missions. Once you complete a mission, you actually get to draw a card. That's like one of the few ways you get to add a new card to your hand, and man, is it hard. So Rove is a this is a way crunchier version, at least for me, than Food Chain Island. It's a straight spatial positioning puzzle. You are trying to figure out the best order of operations to move these cards, the best order of operations to play your action cards, to maybe get like a few action points to set yourself up for a big set of action points. And like I said, this one kind of melts my brain a little bit. This is way more challenging for me than Food Chain Island. It's not as chill as Food Chain Island, but it is a phenomenal solo puzzle. So I would say if you are looking for something a little more crunchy than that number grid puzzle that Food Chain Island provides, Rove is definitely the way to go. I'm happy to own both. This one is also going to be going in my bag when I travel because I'm excited to be able to pull this game out. This one's going to take me a little bit longer to play than Food Chain Island because I feel like there's a lot more thinking going into how to move these modules, especially this freaking coil card. Oh my god, I hate this card because it has this symbol on it that means that when it moves, so it can move in any direction, but when it moves, it has to jump over another module. And that is a nightmare to deal with in this game. Whoa. Okay. After that rant, let's move on. So that is Rove. I'm really excited to continue playing this one. And yeah, the art production of this one, it's another winner for Button Shy. All right, let's just move that off to the side. I will deal with that later. Let's move on to my most played Button Shy game. This is going to be Sprawlopolis. So there are a lot of versions of Sprawlopolis out there now. There is Agropolis, Naturopolis, Casinoopolis, I think just came out. Basically, this is another spatial grid laying. And in Sprawlopolis, it's a city builder. So basically, you're just going to take a card. Well, you actually shuffle these guys up, and you're actually going to let's remove one of the expansions there. You're going to shuffle these guys up, and then you're just going to take 3 of the cards, and you're going to flip those over, and those are going to be your scoring objectives. So all the cards in the deck have objectives on the back, and essentially this gives you a ton of variety on how to play this game because you're just going to take those 3, and those are going to be what you're trying to achieve during the game. We're going to place those out up top here. I'm trying to get a strip, basically at 1 point per commercial block, so there's different colors on these cards. I got blue, gray, orange-ish, and then green. And this one is saying I want to have a long row of blue cards out there to achieve more points during the game. Then I have Sprawlopolis is going to be add the number of blocks in the longest row to the number of blocks in the longest column, basically the maximum grid size that I have, and then I'm going to score that many points. Super highway. I love super highway because this is going to give you 1 point for every 2 road sections that you build. Because these cards also have roads, and as you play them, you can connect up those roads to build longer and longer high. Oh, that can't go like that. Oh man, let's do that right there, and then let's do that. Look at that, I got a super highway foreman right now, so that's kind of the gist of this game. Now you're gonna do other things like try to create sections of blocks. There's like some base scoring in this, and all we're gonna do is I'm gonna start the game. I'm gonna place a card down. That is the start of my city. Then I'm gonna take a 3-card hand, and I'm just gonna start adding to this city. I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna try to start out on that super highway and maybe start building my little commercial row right here. So that's my card play. Now, if you're playing this with other people, they're all gonna draw 1 card. And so let's say I got a friend over here, and then I'm just going to pass them the 2 cards left in my hand, and they are now going to take their turn and place a new card in this city. And they're going to be like, ah, let's do this. There we go. Perfect. And then the play is just going to continue until you run through this deck of cards. So pretty straightforward game, but there are some interesting things that can happen in this. Like you could overwrite blocks on this, which I think is just amazing because you can like be like, ah, you know what? I don't really like having that stuff there, so I'm gonna overwrite that block. We're redeveloping this zone, so I love that you can kind of come back and just redo your city if you want to. And this is gonna help out with achieving some of those objectives. Maybe covering up some of those things are gonna be kind of like critical to your strategy of building out your city. So Sprawlopolis, this is. It is a phenomenal game. I will admit that I played it a few times solo, but I don't like it as much solo as I do like Rove and Food Chain Island. I feel like I like solo games that have very clear victory conditions. I don't like adding points at the end of a game, so when I'm doing solo and I got to add up the score, I'm like, I get a little annoyed, and that's part of Sprawlopolis. But I have played this so many times, 2 players. I probably put in like at least 100 plays of this game. I played it, so this is like my lunchtime game at work. I take this to lunch, and I have one friend that we play some quick 2-player games together, and this is one that was in our rotation for like 6, maybe like 9 months or something, and we just played multiple games of it every lunch. And yeah, so we put in lots and lots of plays of Sprawlopolis, and I love playing it at 2-player. I think that dynamic at 2 players just works out really good. It's like a nice little co-op point maximization puzzle, and I just found it to be a really pleasant experience to play with another person at lunchtime. Now, I will call out there are a ton of expansions for this. The only one I really would recommend is Beaches. Beaches adds in this mechanic where you have to play the beach, and essentially that is going to lock down the size of your grid. So now that I have a beach on this left-hand side here, I cannot play any more cards that go past that beach because that's essentially the ocean there. You're essentially going to be building a peninsula out of this. You're going to have an extra scoring card from the beach that gives you another thing to go for, and basically you're going to be locking yourself into a specific grid size that you're going to be building out. And I think that adds a nice dynamic or an increased challenge to this puzzle that is definitely worth it. The other expansions, I don't really use any of them. Points of Interest is kind of neat. Construction, I played it a couple times and took it out. There's like a dinosaur one or Godzilla style one. It's fine. But yeah, so that is my opinion of Sprawlopolis. This is probably my favorite button shy game at this point. I do really like those 2 solo ones, but this one I have so many plays in. I just have so many good memories of playing this one that yeah, I highly recommend Sprawlopolis. And you know what, if I was to do it again, I do think Sprawlopolis plus Beaches is the way I would go, but you know what, I am interested in Naturopolis because I think Naturopolis has a better theme. I don't really care for the city theme, you know? Okay, so that is Sprawlopolis. Let's move on to the final one of this video. That will be In Vino Morte. So In Vino Morte is an incredibly simple game. I don't know if I actually know the real rules to this game, but essentially now I have the Pixel edition, so I like the art on this one. But essentially, you just have a bunch of cards. I think 16 cards, right? And they are either going to be wine cards or poison cards. So when whoever the active player is, they're going to take this deck of cards and they are going to get an equal number of cards for the number of players playing. And here I have, so let's see, I got 2 wine cards and 3 poison cards. So I got 5 players at the table. Basically the rule is that you need to have at least 1 wine card and you need to have at least 1 poison card. Then from there it's a dealer's choice. Then you're going to go around the table and you're going to hand these cards out to the other players. You're going to be like, there you go, there you go, there you go, and there. So now we're all set up. Now you go to the player to your left and they are going to make a choice. They make the choice of they are either going to drink whatever you gave them or they're going to trade a card. So maybe they're just like, you're nice to me. I'm going to take a drink on this one. And it's like, I got a wine. Look at that. So that person managed to survive. They won the round. So now we move on to the next person. They're like, ooh, I don't trust you. So I'm actually going to swap. They're going to swap with me because they're going to be like, you wouldn't poison yourself. They don't get to drink yet. They have to wait till the end of the round. Next person's like, I actually don't trust my card, so I'm going to swap with you. There we go. I'm going to keep that one. And then this person over here is like, I don't want to swap with anyone. I'm drinking. They're like, poisoned. Okay, I lost the round. Now we're back to the dealer. Everyone gets to reveal their card, and poison. Dealer's dead. Poison. That person's dead. And this person was right. They got the wine, so they have survived. We got 2 winners in this round. Woo! Super exciting, right? Really just an incredibly basic game. It is a party game. I think it plays like 3 to 9 players, and you could probably go more because there's 16 cards in there. It gets a little chaotic. I would say that this, maybe it's not well, no, it is a game. It's a game, right? Yeah, it's got to be a game. But the joy of this one is really just the social experience of playing it, because when you're dealing out these cards, it's best to really just eye down the other person and be like, yeah, what do I think about you? Let's see. I am going to give you this card. Yeah, I think that card. No, I'm changing things up. I'm giving you this card. Okay, let's move on. Next person. So really just kind of getting into their head to make them judge on what you're trying to do, and making them think you're poisoning them or not. Now, when the game starts, this is where, if you are a nerd and you're watching a board game channel, so you probably qualify. I qualify. This is where you may end up with some Princess Bride quotes, and it's going to be a competition of who can remember most of the Princess Bride lines. Then you're just going to continue around, and you just pass this card. Next person goes. You just have a fun time. This is my go-to big group bar game. Like if I don't want to teach the rules to Skull or something, or people aren't up to learning a game, like this is the one that I can pull out. We just play one round at a time, no keeping score. It's just, hey, you survived, yay. If you died, oh, too bad. So really good game. And I do have a variation that I do on the game where I say the dealer has to declare how many poisons are going to be in the deck, so people know how many people are going to die. Like they'll be like, oh, there's 1 wine and 6 poisons. Good luck finding the wine. And yeah, that is In Vino Morte. Just a nice little quick one that I like having with me when I go out and hang out with groups and stuff. So that is going to do it for my Button Shy hot takes. I hope you enjoyed some of these games. Maybe you played some of them. Let me know your thoughts on the games down below. But you know what? I was thinking my Button Shy collection is looking a little small, so I was thinking about putting in a Button Shy order. This is one of the issues with Button Shy. Like when you want one of their games, it's like, I don't know, $12 to get the game, and then it's like $5 shipping, and you're like, is that worth it? So usually if I'm doing a Button Shy order, I'm gonna order multiple games at the same time. Let me know what Button Shy games you recommend, because I'm probably gonna be buying some like Circle the Wagons and Skulls of, Cedric or something. If you have other ones on your list that you're like, oh, definitely check this one out, let me know, and I will see about picking those ones up. And in the future, we'll have Shall Regrets coming out in a review or hot takes or something, Okay, that'll do it for the day. So thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I will talk to you next time.